Here we go. We are live, School Bus Soy at it again for Fortnite Philosophy Friday. Today we are talking about Foucault, Michel Foucault, famous 20th century French philosopher and historian and many other things. Let's switch over to our chat screen here. Hello, hello. Got a special guest today, COVID-19. I went 2 whole years without getting COVID, and I have COVID. I couldn't smell bleach yesterday, and have a really bad sore throat. But aside from that, I'm pretty okay. I felt pretty nasty yesterday, and when I woke up today. But that aside, not too bad. Switch over to our game screen here and get situated in this game. Let's see if we can land at maybe Coney. Why not? Where would Michel Foucault have landed? Probably not at a POI. All right, then we don't land at a POI. Let's go here. Try to hit that llama. So let's see. Thank you, School Bus Bot. Got the wonderful little avatars there. So yeah, Michel Foucault. Let's read the Wikipedia entry here for him. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Simple English Wikipedia, but it is a version of Wikipedia written in English, but simplified, so simple English. So it says here for Foucault, Michel Foucault, 1926 to 84, was a French philosopher and historian. He wrote about many topics and influenced many other thinkers. Foucault studied institutions such as psychiatric wards, hospitals, schools, and prisons to figure out how they affected the people living in them. All right. And the bot has given me my first kill. Gotta love it. Was that a bot? What was the name? I don't know. You know, who cares? All right, let's see here. I have a shotgun. I have a Green Ranger. Okay. Not too bad. Not too shabby of a start. Oh, we have this thing too. What a glorious, wonderful day. Alrighty. Not too bad. Not too bad. See if we got anything back here, and then I guess we move on to the llama. We should probably pick this one up. Cool. I've been using the Ranger more. Not all that bad. All right. So Hannah, my girlfriend, started playing Fortnite recently, which is pretty cool. I don't know why, because she's not a gamer. She's never played games, enjoyed games of any kind, shape, flavor. Let's see which one of these is more... That's going to be the one that's more gassed up. Bro, name is on top of a cat. Hell yeah. Did you get a cat? Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to have a great stream. I will try my best. Oh, and I've gone the wrong way. Not the greatest start. Ayo, ayo. Oh, someone already stole my dang cat. My dang llama. Wow, look at that. Chat's confusing me. Thank you, chat. Alright, let's see. Do I want the pistol? No, I will take this. You know what? How many of these do I have? I've got 3. Alright. See ya. Alrighty, so let's see here. Let's read the regular Wikipedia entry for Michel Foucault, but not before we switch scenes here and kill this guy. Lemon squeezy. Ah, he's the thief. Man, what a fruitful kill. Alright, he will give us something. I don't want the keg, but I will take some assistance. Alright, let's go back to this camera. Michel Foucault was a French philosopher, historian of an Paul Michel Foucault was a French philosopher, historian of ideas, writer, political activist, and literary critic. Foucault's theories primarily address the relationship between power and knowledge and how they are used as a form of social control through societal institutions. Though often cited as a structuralist, it's in our Twitch title here, or wherever you're watching, and postmodernist, Foucault rejected these labels. His thought has influenced academics, especially those working in communication studies, anthropology, psychology, sociology, criminology, cultural studies, literary theory, feminism, Marxism, and critical theory. So, let's see here. Let me actually post this outline. Let me show you guys what I have here, today's outline. You can see it kind of here. This is the Patreon post. I'm going to copy and paste this and post it in chat. So there it is. This is one of the outlines. I'll be going through all this. So this is kind of what we just read through. We got a video we're watching from School of Life, which is a great philosophy kind of 101 channel over a bunch of topics. And then we'll be reading from my lovely handy dandy philosophy book here. I love this thing. Yeah, we're all sourced and stuff down here. Yeah, I also... So I have it written here too, but this is the Patreon version here. I have... Uh-oh. Am I being accosted? I don't think so. Alright, let's see where we're moving to. Perhaps this island? I don't think that's like the best place to go, but you know, let's switch mats because I know I'm gonna get attacked, assaulted. Okay. So yeah, Foucault, here we go. We'll watch that video in a moment. Let's see if we can get stabilized here and try to... Perhaps we should push. I mean, we got plenty of mats and items. Whoa! Hell yeah. Not bad. I'll take that. 7 minutes in. I've killed a boar with my magic vehicle. Oh! Man. No good, no good. If anyone can clip and clip that moment just a second ago, that would be dope. Alrighty. Am I even going towards my mark? Yeah, kind of. What do we have here? Not so much. Not so much. So, Foucault talked about a number of things, primarily. One of them was power. It's big on the relationship between power and society, and how society uses different instruments of power to exert that power. So, for instance, medicine was something that he discussed at length in this way. Sex was something he discussed at length in this way. Prisons was another thing that he discussed at length in this way. I'm gonna kill the shark. We're feeling adventurous today. Nice. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. I hope it's not a sniper. No, it's not. We're good. We're great. I don't even want the minis. That's wonderful. All right, I am about as set as I can be. I would like it. No, I'm good. I have no want in this world. Man, I don't like that. You can't build here because whatever, there's already a thing. You know, who cares, right? All right. I suppose this gives... Oh, man, I'm not even in the storm. Like, I should have realized that. Ugh, gosh. All right, so let's go pick up that drop. Oops. Well, I kind of should have seen that coming. In addition to power and its role in societal... Oh, shit. Oh, man. Wow. More gold. Haha. I don't even know if I want this. Perhaps I can use this, get it off, and then... Yeah, I like this. I like this, what I'm doing here. All right. I like that. We're doing great. Still got 5 of these chugs. I could probably use one on my way out of here. God damn. It's like the NPCs are just a wonderful... They always do that. All right, we try again. Let's chill here for a second. Look at my wonderful stats. First player in the match to hire a character. I think that deserves an award in and of itself. Just kidding. So, yeah, Foucault, philosopher, historian, political and social activist, talked about power and its role in shaping the way we see ourselves and its role in the power dynamics. Did I say power and its role in power? All these social constructs, like medicine, like prisons and things, influence how we see the world around us, and they influence how we interact with society at large, and how society at large exerts its power unto us. So he kind of urged a reanalysis of why we think we know certain things, and the reading from this book here, the philosophy book, will kind of delve into that. So as we queue up for this next game here, let us watch this video. So let's check it out. This is from the School of Life. It is a awesome YouTube channel, kind of covering basic topics in philosophy. So without further ado, here we go. And I will keep this... Uh-oh. You can't hear it, can you? Because there is no desktop audio. Okay. Let's fix that in OBS real quick. Desktop audio should be set to default. All right. So now I need to mute. Did not think about this, did I? All right, let's see. If the audio is all messed up, please let me know in chat. I will try to have it not be messed up, but no promises. I'll land late.
Michel Foucault was a French 20th century philosopher and historian who spent his career forensically criticizing the power of the modern bourgeois capitalist state, including its police, law courts, prisons, doctors, and psychiatrists. His goal was to work out nothing less than how power worked, and then to change it in the direction of a Marxist anarchist utopia. Though he spent most of his life in libraries and seminar rooms, he was a committedly revolutionary figure. He met with enormous popularity in elite Parisian intellectual circles. Jean-Paul Sartre admired him deeply, and he still maintains a wide following among young people studying at university in the prosperous corners of the world. His background, which he was extremely reluctant ever to talk about and tried to prevent journalists from investigating at all costs, was very privileged. Both his parents were inordinately rich, coming from a long line of successful surgeons in Poitiers in west-central France. His father, Dr. Paul Foucault, came to represent all that Michel would hate about bourgeois France. Michel had a standard upper-class education. He went to elite Jesuit institutions, was an altar boy, and his parents hoped he would become a doctor. But Michel wasn't quite like other boys.
I don't know if he said
He
that.
started self-harming and thinking constantly of suicide. At university, he decorated his bedroom with images of torture by Goya. When he was 22, he tried to commit suicide and was forced by his father, against his will, to see France's most famous psychiatrist, Jean Dolay, at the Hôpital Sainte-Anne in
So,
Paris.
you know,
The doctor
perhaps this
wisely
kind of underlies his fascination and obsession, some might say, with the field of psychiatry, and, you know, why he spent so much effort talking about that.
diagnosed that a lot of Michel's distress came from having to keep his homosexuality, and in particular his interest in extreme sadomasochism, away from a censorious society. Gradually, Foucault entered the underground gay scene in France, fell in love with a drug dealer, and then took up with a transvestite. For long
Interesting
periods in
chain of
his
events.
20s, he went to live abroad in Sweden, Poland, and Germany, where he felt his sexuality would be less constrained. All the while, Foucault was
Hey, pausing to switch to this other camera here. Alrighty, let's see what we got. Uh-oh. No, 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 no. This is like 3 teams. This ain't looking good. And missed all those shots. It's okay. You know what? It's fine. Alright. Cool. Great. No worries. Just a little death. Le petit mort! Alright. You know what? Let's go back to this. Here. Alright. I'm just not even going to ready up yet. Let's dedicate some time here to Mr. Foucault. Right? I think that's reasonable.
progressing up the French academic ladder. The seismic event of his intellectual life came in the summer of 1953, when Foucault was 27 and on holiday with a lover in Italy. There he came across Nietzsche's book Untimely Meditations, which contains an essay called On the Uses and Abuses of History for Life.
So if you actually pull up the Patreon, or yeah, it's on the Patreon here. I have linked that. You can find it for free online, so nothing too crazy here. But yeah, on the uses. So if you click this, it's also sourced here, free to read. utexas.edu on the uses, on the use and abuse of history for life. Yeah, the whole text here. Boom, 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 boom. Long thing. All right. Right, back to this.
In the essay, Nietzsche argued that academics had poisoned our sense of how history should be read and taught. They made it seem as if one should read history in some sort of a disinterested way in order to learn how it all was in the past. But Nietzsche rejected this with sarcastic fury. There was no point learning about the past for its own sake. The only reason to read and study history is to dig out from the past ideas, concepts, and examples which can help us to lead a better life in our own times. This essay liberated Foucault intellectually, as nothing had till then.
Okay, so the idea there being that, man, it readied up for me, but I'm not ready. Oh, okay, maybe I can hide, and when I switch back, I'll just be like first place, and I'll just have won. That's the plan, anyway. Okay, here, let me try to. Here, let's switch over. Let me try to hide, and then we return here to the video. Oh gosh. Here, let's switch to this camera here. Oh man. Ooh, chest. So the relevance of history to Foucault then was not in and of itself for history, right? It was the things that history teaches us, right? Why history is relevant today. Foucault would have been that kid in math class who's like, why do I care, you know? Alright, let's try to hide somewhere around here. Alright, cool. We are fairly hidden. Alright, returning to this.
Immediately, he changed the direction of his work and decided to become a particular kind of philosophical historian, someone who could look back into the past to help to sort out the urgent issues of his own time. 8 years later, he was ready to publish what's recognized as his first masterpiece, Madness and Civilization. The standard view is that we now treat people with mental illness in so much more of a humane way than we ever did in the past. After all, we put them in hospitals, give them drugs, and get them looked after by people with PhDs. But this was exactly the attitude that Foucault wished to demolish in Madness and Civilization. In the book, he argued that things way back in the Renaissance were actually far better for the mad than they subsequently became. In the Renaissance, the mad were felt to be different rather than crazy. They were thought to possess a kind of wisdom because they demonstrated the limits of reason. They were revered in many circles.
I think that's a very interesting way to phrase that. So let me play that again.
The mad were felt to be different rather than crazy. They were thought to possess a kind of wisdom because they demonstrated the limits of reason.
They were thought to possess a kind of wisdom because they demonstrated the limits of reason. I think that's a very neat way to look at the mad. So actually, let's kind of pause on that note and switch over here. And the storm is far, so let's try to get out of the bugle, and maybe we can have that thought about the mad sit with us. Well, I suppose I can... So if anyone's in chat watching, let me know what you think about that. And, yeah, I'd be glad to discuss that. Alrighty. Great, minis. I'm pleased with that. I think I'm going to take the second AR. I would really like the Spider-Man stuff here. What? There we go. That wasn't that hard. All right. So many chests in here. I don't even want to get all of these. I just want to get out of here. All right, I think we're good. Let's not get too greedy here. I think they buffed the Ranger. I did not like that thing before, and now I'm, partial to it. And I don't know where to go here. Whoa! Oh my gosh. Alright. I don't really know this place, and I don't know where the Spider-Man things are. Man, I had Spider-Man stuff in one of these at one point. Perhaps I still do. Gold Ranger, Gold MK. No, but I will take the tent with me. Someone help me out here. I think there's normally one here. There is not now, though. What a shame. Oh, and the storm is coming. Alright, so this whole thing was a mistake. Maybe there's a Spider-Man thing. Oh, there we go. Look at that. My lucky savior. Alright, wow, perfect timing. Man, I thought that would be so much faster. Like I'm going at a very high rate of speed here. That should be a hella rug burn at least. That is not fair. Here we go. Not the greatest, not the greatest. Could be better. Alright, not too bad, not too bad. Let's see, since we have this now, let's go somewhere cryptic, hidden away. And then we can continue watching this Foucault video and win this game by passivity. That'd be pretty cool. Oh, I should probably mute the double desktop audio. Yeah, I hope my audio is not all screwy. I kind of changed some settings earlier, so let me know if it is. Okay, it's great. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Audio's fine. Good, good, good. Is it fine even when I do this? It doesn't sound doubled or anything? There's no... It's good. It's a thumbs up. It's a thumbs up. I take it. That's a yes. Nope. Now it sounds bad? Okay. Oh, it sounds good. It sounds great. Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright, so let's move back here towards, I guess I'll just let the game play for me and we'll just watch this. We'll just watch this.
They were revealed.
Alright, so the quote. The mad were seen as having some special kind of wisdom because they showed the limits of reason. Again, neat conception of mental illness. I think that's interesting. Oh, Hemdamity, you got the llama. Good job. All right.
Veered in many circles and were allowed to wander freely. But then, as Foucault's historical researches showed him, in the mid-17th century a new attitude was born that relentlessly medicalized and institutionalized mentally ill people. No longer were they allowed to live alongside the so-called sane. They were taken away from their families and locked up in asylums and seen as people one should try to cure rather than tolerate for just being different. You can
right, so now there's what he's saying is there's a distinction now between, where there wasn't before, between the mad and the normal, right? So where there's this distinction made between, normal folk and people that need to be cured, people that need to be seen as other, right? This othering of people that are just like you and I, perhaps, in many ways, aside from these artificial ways.
Recognize a very similar underlying philosophy in Foucault's next great book, The Birth of the Clinic. His target here was medicine more broadly. He systematically attacked the view that medicine had become more humane with time. He conceded that, of course, we have better drugs and treatments now, but he believed that in the 18th century the professional doctor was born and that he was a sinister figure who would look at the patient always with what Foucault called the medical gaze, denoting a dehumanizing attitude that looked at a patient just as a set of organs, not a person. One was, under the medical gaze, merely a malfunctioning kidney or liver, not a person to be considered as a whole entity. Next in Foucault's oeuvre came Discipline and Punish. Here Foucault did his standard thing on state punishment. Again, the normal view is that the prison and punishment...
the carceral system, he called it, right? So it's like the whole system, the dynamic system of incarceration and state power that, how the state exerts its power in large part.
Systems of the modern world are so much more humane than they were in the days when people just used to be hung in public squares. Not so, argued Foucault. The problem, he said, is that power now looks kind, but isn't, whereas in the past it clearly wasn't kind, and therefore could encourage open rebellion and protest. Foucault noted that in the past, at an execution, a convict's body could become a focus of sympathy and admiration, and the executioner, rather than the convict, could become the locus of shame. Also, public executions often led to riots in support of the prisoner. But with the invention of the modern prison system,
now it's all hidden
in private behind locked gates. One can no longer see and therefore resist state power. That's what made the modern system of punishment so barbaric.
And let me just echo that. One can no longer see and thus resist state power. So the ability to even effectively protest is diminished in large part because you don't see it. It's not visible. It's not, until people live streaming police brutality, we may not have known about these specific instances of police brutality that occurred over the past few years, right? So this is kind of an example of that. The state power has become more hidden behind a curtain, this kind of societal curtain that we've decided we perhaps don't want to see. We don't want to be made acutely aware of what the state has to do, perhaps, right? So let's continue here.
And properly primitive in Foucault's eyes. Foucault's last work was the multi-volume History of Sexuality. The maneuvers he performed in relation to sex are again very familiar.
A book that, might I add, a series of publications that, might I add, spoke very little of and included very little women. He hardly ever talks about women in these books. And yes, he's a gay man. He was a gay man. But I mean, to write multiple publications on, the history and social implications of sex and not mention women is interesting. I don't know.
Foucault rebelled against the view that we're all now deeply liberated and at ease with sex. He argued that since the 18th century, we have relentlessly medicalized sex, handing it over to professional sex researchers and scientists. We live in an age of what Foucault called scientia sexualis, science of sexuality. But Foucault looked back with considerable nostalgia to the cultures of Rome, China, and Japan, where he detected the rule of what he called an ars erotica, erotic art, where the whole focus was on how to increase the pleasure of sex rather than merely understand and label it. Once again, modernity was blamed for pretending there'd been progress when there was in fact just a loss of spontaneity and imagination. Foucault wrote the last volume of this work while dying of AIDS that he had contracted in a San Francisco gay bar. He died in 1984,
the irony.
Age 58. Foucault's lasting contribution is to the way we look at history. There are lots of things in the modern world that we're constantly being told are fantastic and were apparently very bad in the past, for example, education or the media or our communication systems. Foucault encourages us to break away from our optimistic smugness about now and to go back and see in history many ways of doing things which were perhaps superior. Foucault wasn't trying to get us to be nostalgic. He wanted us to pick up some lessons of way back in order to improve how we live now. Academic historians have tended to hate Foucault's work. They think it inaccurate and keep pointing out things he hadn't quite understood in some document or other. But Foucault didn't care for total historical accuracy. History for him was just a storehouse of good ideas, and he wanted to raid it rather than keep it pristine and untouched. We should use Foucault as an inspiration to look at the dominant ideas and institutions of our times, and to question them by looking at their histories and evolutions. Foucault did something remarkable. He made history life-enhancing and philosophically rich again. He can be an inspiring figure for our own projects.
Great channel. Check it out. I'm sure I will show more of their videos here in the future. But let's go back to this outline and kind of go over the main points of this, and then we can move back into Fortnite here. So yeah, this is on the Patreon here. Foucault, Power, Social Control, and Structuralism. Let's scroll down to the part with the video here. So committedly revolutionary figure, I think, is an interesting and good way to describe Foucault. He criticized the power of the modern bourgeois capitalist state, particularly the instruments of that power. So prisons, doctors, psychiatrists, stuff like that. So in 1953, Foucault felt revolutionized by reading Nietzsche's untimely meditations on the uses and abuses of history for life. That's something that is linked here and can be clicked on. So at no point Nietzsche kind of argued that there's no point learning about history for its own sake. Instead, we have to find concepts in the, oh my God, there is a, okay. I'm going to switch screens here, and I want you to see that there is a purple bird that I might, oh! Damn, I have no weapons, but look at this great view. That's the whole map. All right, let's switch back here. So you read the Untimely Meditations, and right. We're talking about what Nietzsche's view here. So history is not useful perhaps for its own sake, but is useful so we can pick at it and extract nuggets of wisdom from it, right? Uncover concepts from the past that are useful to improve the world of today. And so Foucault found this idea very inspiring or liberating, as the video stated. And so a few years later, Foucault publishes Madness and Civilization, in part probably due to this inspiration. And I think he drew a large amount of inspiration from Nietzsche throughout his time, as well as some others like Kant and Heidegger and just other philosophers, historians, and people that spoke about these issues. So in Madness and Civilization, he reframes the perspective on the mad, right, as not being better treated today than they were in the past, but as being othered and being treated worse today than they have been in the past because of that othering, because of that stigma and that pushing out of the normal, right, as a group separate from the normal. And again, there's that quote here that I really like, that the mad were considered to have a kind of wisdom as they demonstrated their limits of reason. In The Birth of the Clinic, Foucault targets medicine more broadly than just its psychiatric aspects and discusses the medical gaze, which is kind of like the same idea with Madness and Civilization, but instead of just being about a psychiatric perspective, it's just how medicine sees individuals through exclusively this medical light. Let's see how long we have to move until the storm. A good minute here, so let's try to wrap up this in a minute. In 1975, Foucault publishes Discipline and Punish, which focused on state punishment and the carceral system, where the instruments of state control are behind closed doors, hidden away, and they seem kind, but they are just as barbaric, or perhaps more so than they were in the past. But instead of being publicized and available to the public to see and thus to protest against, they are not available. And so people cannot see and protest against these things that they aren't even familiar with. They don't even know what's going on behind the curtains, right? And I drew that comparison that I thought was fairly apt to people recording police brutality. Like if you don't see that, you don't know that it's happening, you can't protest against it, right? So that's Discipline and Punish. So the instruments of state control are hidden. Foucault publishes The History of Sexuality in 1976. We've got 10 seconds. Let's start moving and we'll keep this up. And yeah, I am jumping. All right, let's see how far we got to go. All right, we're going to Bugle, I guess, which is where we were last game, except now we are lacking any items, so no weapons so far, which is quite unfortunate. This is not going to go too hot. Gosh. Oh, man. All right, a shotgun. What is that? Minis. Wonderful. I don't like that you can't use minis while sliding. That would be dope. No, no wood. Okay. There we go. Oh, we have a boat. Let's take that boat. Unfortunately, not great. Could be going better. Switch over here. Take this off the screen for now. It's not like we're getting anywhere with that at this time. We're running from the storm. I don't know what that even was. Hey. Oh, blue items. We love to see that. Look at that. Now I've got just as many decent weapons probably as half of these players left. Blue and green ain't too bad. What do we have here? A minute 25. Should I say that we can continue on with this Foucault stuff? Alexa, dismiss. Sorry if I activated your smart home devices at home. Our fridge is philosophy and video games. Awesome. Thanks, Brian. Yeah, and I'm pulling from a lot of this content here for these outlines from Wikipedia, which I'm sure you're happy about. There's a lot of great stuff on Wikipedia, and a lot of this is the outlines for this is pulled from there. But no, Fortnite Philosophy Friday I thought would be a great example of alliteration, and who doesn't love alliteration? Yeah. All right, so let's see here. We've got 25 seconds. We do love Wikipedia. It's a wonderful source of entertainment and knowledge and everything else. You know, there's that like Wikipedia game where you start with one page and try to get to a set other page. I think that would be a cool game to stream on here. So perhaps I will. We shall see. Oh, nope. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, thanks for checking it out. I'm very glad to see you here. So, yeah. No, I stream every Friday at 9 p.m. Central. Fortnite Philosophy Friday. Sundays at 3 p.m. Central? No, 1 p.m. Central? Yeah, 1 p.m. Central. Is that it? Is it there? Is it here? Not great. But yeah, I play Splitgate on Sundays, and I'm going to start streaming a few other things. Someone else got that kill. That is confusing. Like GeoGuessr and Pokemon and just whatever. You know, so like a Friday and Sunday, I'm going to be doing a more serious philosophy stream. I don't know if you saw this a minute ago, but there's this... here, I can show you my outline for this. Here on Patreon here. Let me actually switch to this one. You might be able to see it a bit better. Yeah, I have this outline here that I prepare for every Friday and every Sunday. You know, just kind of discussing what we're going to talk about today. And you can see Simple English Wikipedia, regular Wikipedia source, a video from the School of Life on YouTube. You know, I think this they got, yeah, they probably. Sorry, this bot keeps posting my Facebook. I'm so sorry. But yeah. So we have this video here that I just watched on stream a minute ago. What? What killed me? God! Oh, he got into my box. Okay, naturally. This is what I get for trying to engage with chat. No, don't. I'm kidding. But yeah, so and then this book, I have a book here, a lovely book called The Philosophy Book, and it is about philosophy, and there is a section about Foucault that I will be reading in a little bit here. So let's go back to my untimely death. Yeah, so I'm writing up. We'll have that back here. All right, so now that we are uninterrupted from dying, Let's go back to this. All right, so discipline and punish, focusing on state punishment. Oh yeah, so where I was at, we're kind of summarizing the video we just watched from the School of Life, which is this here. Philosophy, Michel Foucault. Right on. So in Discipline and Punish focuses on state punishment and how the sort of state power is more insidious now that it's not as publicized. And then I think I mentioned in History of Sexuality that there's very little talk of women, which that's funny. And so this idea of ars erotica, and I hope this video doesn't get taken down anywhere because of the pictures that were shown in that. It's not pornographic, that video was on YouTube. Anyway, so the focus was to increase the pleasure of sex rather than merely understand and label it. Which is an interesting perspective. And so Foucault kind of envisions this loss of spontaneity and imagination with the medicalization of sex, just like he talks about the medicalization of, the MAD and the medicalization of all these other groups and institutions and, this sort of involvement of societal and state power dynamics in places that he thinks that stuff doesn't belong. So Foucault died at age 58, ironically perhaps, you might say, of AIDS that he contracted in a San Francisco gay bar. I did not fact check that. I'm just quoting that from the video, but their stuff is usually very well done, and I don't imagine that would be incorrect. I'm not quite sure, though. So what do we take from all this? We should understand history to fix today's world, right? Not history for the sake of history, but history for an end, for a goal. Foucault didn't care for total historical accuracy. History was just a storehouse of good ideas, and he wanted to rate it rather than keep it pristine and untouched. This reminds me of a quote from, I am blanking, the guy that did the Campbell soup cans. Oh man, famous like pop art icon. Anyway, he had a quote. Oh, that's really bugging me. I can't think of that. He had a quote about art. Art is about theft, something along those lines about how, there's no original ideas in art, and you should steal, right? That's how you create art, because art is just a rehashing of things. Everything is just a rehashing of other things, right? There are no original ideas. Yeah, me too. I will fix that bot after this. Yeah, but it's... And so that kind of applies here as well. It's not, necessarily about art, but about history, right? History is a rehashing of ideas. Something doomed to repeat it if we don't study it, right? So we should take those ideas from the past and apply them to today in a way that teaches us something. And so we have some questions that we can ask as a result of that. Namely, what are those dominant institutions and ideas of today that we ought to be questioning that Michel Foucault hadn't gotten to yet, right? So he talked about prisons, and I think that's especially relevant today with everything that's going on and how the world is reacting to police brutality and, the police state, right? And so that's something that he talked about that's very relevant today that might be a good answer. But what else can we think of that might be something that Foucault would be upset at this kind of state involvement in, or the medicalization or academicization? That's, I think, a good question that we should ask ourselves. And furthermore, why do we study history? Foucault suggested and Nietzsche suggested that we should study history for these particular reasons, but that's not necessarily why everyone studies history, right? And so I'm curious what some of those other perspectives are, and why we should pick at, historical facts and tales and whatnot, and learn from that. What's the point if for its own sake, right? Is that worth doing? All right, so let's kind of switch back into Fortnite here. I have a terrible drop. And at the very edge of the map, let's see how far we've got to go. All right, not too bad. We can try passing through Condo Canyon here. I don't even know the names of these places as of yet. Whoa! Oh, man. Yeah, you deserve death. Alright. Alright. Alright, Perhaps there will be a chest here. Wonderful. We love it. All right. Oh, my annoying bot that keeps talking about, you know, the Facebook and whatnot, did mention merch, and I think that is interesting because I turned... So if anyone's seen these trolley problem, you know, like the trolley problem from philosophy, like moral philosophy, that there's a trolley going down a track, it's going to hit 5 people, and you have the power to switch it to the other track that will only hit 1 person. Do you pull the lever to switch the tracks, right? This problem has been, you know, morphed into a million different variants of itself, and so it's kind of become a meme in the meme type moral philosophy circles, and so I decided to turn those memes into shirts and other products, and so those are available on my merch page that is available on my Twitch. And I actually got some of my own branded merch here. Here's my little logo on a mug. I feel so important, you know. I got my own brand on a mug. I feel this like I've made it. This is it. This mug means I've made it. It's not even the right colors. Like it's like teal, not cyan, and the pink, the magenta is definitely purple. So I'll be fixing that. But yeah. All right, let's see here. Oh, I have some fairly awful weapons. You know, it is what it is. Oh, my desktop audio is still doubling up. All right. We'll take the fire and hope. Wonder what Foucault would think about Fortnite. Probably wouldn't have the time for it. Huh. Let's go get some clingers. I'm not used to these. All right, we're on our way here. Uh-oh, there's activity here. Wow. I don't know how I pulled that off with a ranger, nonetheless. Let's see what we got. One big pot. Okay, not too bad, not too shabby. He got no hits on me. Man. I inadvertently killed it. Unable to edit building. Oh, that is not my building, is it? I might grab that SMG if it's still here. Oh, man. What am I putting in storage here? Ooh. Okay. Let's swap, perhaps. We'll take the MK. We'll stash that. And then we'll leave the tent behind. Yes. Cool. That makes sense. Right? Yeah. Yeah. This is good. This makes sense. I suppose we don't need the card then. We're in in the water. I've also changed some other audio settings, namely that when I start talking, there is a audio compressor that does something called ducking that turns the game volume down. So I hope that sounds good and not horrible. Changed some audio settings this time, so I don't know how these things will work out. To risky reels we go. What is that? Chugs. I don't know that anything here is worth... Oh, yep. We'll take that. So we're fairly center point here. Whoa. No, no, no. Let's switch cameras. Alrighty. Wonderful choice to switch cameras there. It's now on the... Alright! Good stuff. Huh. I didn't hear a llama, did I? No, that's the vending machine, which is somewhere around here. Okay, what do I need? Heals. Oh, we can get heals. Wonderful. Quite centered, no reason to really move too much. I'll do this. And that's probably a bad move. But I'll do it. If it was a purple pump, that would be something else. Let's switch back here. Bit more of a relaxed perspective. Although I will certainly need to switch back once I get into a fight. This is hard to see here still. Okay, here we go. Oh, you know what? I should have swapped out for the sniper, because there's no reason to... That worked! Wow, that worked. All right. Go Foucault! Go Foucault! All right, sorry for the loudness. Okay. Alright. And then I suppose I use this. Oh no! Oh god. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Come on, come on. So close. Hey, we're good, we're good. We're great. Never been better. Oh my god! We love Foucault. We love Foucault. Wow! Look at you trying to do peace control. And failing. Ooh. Did I not get that reload off? Oh, no. Oh! Oh, shucks. Not great. Not great. But I feel like that was a much better attempt at things than previously. All right. Let's go back to Foucault, actually. Let's get away from this whole game here. Maybe I could just put on spectate and we'll switch over to this reading. Is this... Yeah, sure. We can have this person playing Fortnite in the background, and I'll read here. All right. Let's see if this works. I'll turn the table backlight to 20%. That's not too bright. Okay. Turn the table backlight to white. Oh, you can't even see this quite clearly. Oh. Ooh. Ooh. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Go Anonymous 294. Okay. Man is an invention of recent date. This is an idea that Foucault proposed. So we have here some context. Let's start by saying that this is a epistemological area that we're touching on here about Foucault, because he talked about a number of different things, and one of these things was epistemology. And a specific approach is what he called discursive archaeology. And so we'll get back to that term archaeology in a moment here. Some background on how this came to be. In the late 18th century, Immanuel Kant lays the foundation for the 19th century model of man. In 1859, Charles Darwin's On the Origin of Species causes a revolution in how we understand ourselves. And in 1883, Friedrich Nietzsche, in Thus Spoke Zarathustra, announces that man is something to be surpassed. Post-Foucault work is, so we start with here, American philosopher Donna Haraway's A Cyborg Manifesto attempts to imagine a post-human future. And in 91, Daniel Dennett's Consciousness Explained calls into question many of our most cherished notions about consciousness. So we have a diagram here. This book has some great diagrams, and so this is the diagram that I'm talking about here. So it's kind of figure 1 pointing to figure 2, pointing to figure 3. Figure 1. We treat the idea of man or humankind as if it is a natural and eternal idea. Figure 2. But an archaeology of our thinking shows that the idea of man arose as an object of study at the beginning of the 19th century. Figure 3. Man is thus an invention of recent date. So that's kind of a general simplification of things, right? Archaeology of our thinking being a term referring to us going in and breaking down and kind of unearthing the things that make up why we think what we think and how we think what we think. So let's get into it. Let's read this. I'm going to read this whole 2 pages here. The idea that man is an invention of recent date appears in The Order of Things, an archaeology of the human sciences by French philosopher Michel Foucault. To understand what Foucault means by this, we need to know what he means by archaeology, and why he thinks that we should apply it to the history of thought. Foucault is interested in how our discourse, the way in which we talk and think about things, is formed by a set of largely unconscious rules that arise out of the historical conditions in which we find ourselves. What we take to be the common sense background to how we think and talk about the world is in fact shaped by these rules and these conditions. However, the rules and conditions change over time. and consequently, so do our discourses. So this is important, right? Because we talk about these conceptions of things like humankind, or perhaps, because we talked about singularitarianism recently, AI, or even just I, the self, I guess, but I was meaning intelligence, right? Out of AI, right? Just what is that? What is intelligence? What does that mean? What? How do we come up with this idea of like, oh, this concept is this, and so it changes based on when you are and where you are, right? What cultures and what time period you're in. So these discourses change. For this reason, an archaeology is needed to unearth both the limits and the conditions of how people thought and talked about the world in previous ages. We cannot take concepts that we use in our present context, for example, the concept of human nature, and assume that they are somehow eternal and that all we need is a history of ideas to trace their genealogy. For Foucault, it is simply wrong to assume that our current ideas can be usefully applied to any previous point in history. And I would add to this, to any other culture in history or in the present even. You can't. So one example of this that I know I would say was brought up a number of times in my psychology classes, and I studied for psych, is how a lot of psych studies that are done in English-speaking countries are done on weird, or what are called weird participants or audiences. What you're going to generalize from are those study participants, right? So weird stands for Western, educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic. And it's hard to generalize concepts about, let's say you're studying relationship satisfaction. I only say that because I worked in a relationship satisfaction lab. But just for a random idea, if you're studying relationship satisfaction in this very weird participant group, can you generalize to, the impoverished in South Africa? Maybe. Can you generalize to the wealthy of South Korea? I mean, it's just these very different discourses occur in these different places when you're talking about these things, these concepts, right? And so I think that applies just as much as it does to the time piece of things. Oh, we're about to watch this guy win this game here in the background, I think. I think this is the same person. Yeah, Anonymous 294. Let's go. I'm kind of... let's switch over. Let's watch this guy. We'll get right back to the reading, but this is it, this is the big moment. He's got 12 armored walls left. Pulls out the shotgun. Interesting move. Breaks down the tree with the purple SMG. That's not coming down, so that's a waste of bullets. Interesting choice. So he could come down on the tree. I won a game recently where I came down on the tree and just started shooting at the other person like that. Ooh. Almost took damage there. Fortunately for him, he does have Spider-Man. Or her, I suppose. Got the female skin here. Okay, so not choosing to do what I did the other game. I won that game, but kind of barely. Ooh, that is a lot of fall damage. Oh, that was a great opportunity to take the shot, and they missed it. And this storm is down to... It's going to be storm damage death. Oh, that was good. Blocked him out. All right, it's the game. Go, Anonymous 294. Good job. I can't say I approve of the Cactus Jack back after the recent... that was a good series of plays there. And look at that storm. Oh, that's not it. Wow. Look at that. That is nothing. That's nothing. That's like... Alright, so let's go back to this... Alright, where were we here? Let's see. Right, so let me read this past sentence here. For Foucault, it is simply wrong to assume that our current ideas can be usefully applied to any previous point in history. The ways in which we use the words man, mankind, and human nature, Foucault believes, are examples of this. The roots of this idea lie firmly in the philosophy of Immanuel Kant, who turned philosophy on its head by abandoning the old question, why is the world the way it is? And asking, why do we see the world the way we do? We take our idea of what it is to be human as fundamental and unchanging. But it is, in fact, only a recent invention. Foucault locates the beginning of our particular idea of man at the beginning of the 19th century. Which, I don't know, this doesn't really quite explain. I don't know how that particularly came about. Around the time of the birth of the natural sciences. So perhaps that's kind of the idea. He talks about this medicalization and this scientization of ideas and institutions, and I think maybe that's where he places the origin story of the idea of man. This idea of man is, Foucault considers, paradoxical. We see ourselves both as objects in the world, and so as objects of study, and as subjects who experience and study the world. Strange creatures that look in two directions at once. Foucault suggests that not only is this idea of man an invention of recent date, it is also an invention that may be close to coming to its end, one that may soon be erased like a face drawn in the sand at the edge of the sea. Is Foucault right? In a time of rapid advances in computing and human-machine interfaces, and when philosophers informed by cognitive science such as Daniel Dennett and Dan Wagner are questioning the very nature of subjectivity, it is hard not to feel that, even in the face of the sand is about to be erased, the tide is lapping alarmingly at its edges. And it ends with a quote here from Foucault. Man is neither the oldest nor the most constant problem that has been posed for human knowledge. Some background on Foucault. I'll just read this quickly here. It doesn't really relate to the whole paragraph, so we kind of went over here. But Foucault was born in Poitiers, France. France. I'm so sorry. I'm allowed to do that because I speak French. I'm not French. I don't have any French background. I'm totally... We'll forget that happened. Foucault was born in Poitiers, France. In 1926. 1926, to a family of doctors, which he didn't like. He didn't like his. He did right. There's a video mentioning he tried to hide his ritzy upbringing. After World War II, he entered the École Normale Supérieure, where he studied philosophy under Maurice Merleau-Ponty. In 1950, check that French accent out. In 1954, he spent time in Uppsala, Sweden, and then lived for a time both in Poland and Germany, only returning to France in 1960. He received a PhD in 1961 for his study, A History of Madness, which argued that the distinction between madness and sanity is not real, but a social construct. After the month-long student strikes in Paris of 1968, he became involved in political activism and continued to work both as a lecturer and an activist for the rest of his life. So that's what we've got on Foucault from the book. So let's kind of go over a little bit of that. The approach he took was discursive archaeology. We go back and we unearth why we think the things that we think, not just the history of ideas, but a breaking down and a true consideration of what goes into these things and what goes into these thoughts, why, right? So another important thing is this idea that he drew inspiration from Kant. And so the two questions that were mentioned were the initial, why is the world the way it is, to why do we see the world the way we do. So the way Kant phrased this was the distinction between the noumena and the phenomena, right? The actual reality of things versus the perception of things. And we briefly talked about this in my very first Fortnite Philosophy Friday, not my intro one, but the one where we talked about fallibilism and foundationalism. This was noumena to phenomena. That distinction was mentioned briefly, and I think we can go back further than this and go to Socrates and Plato and you know the cave with the flickering shadows, and we perceive the shadows, not the true reality of things, not the forms, right? We perceive this abstraction of the true forms of reality. The true nature of things is hidden away from us, and we perceive only what's allowed to be glimpsed into our Forget that last sentence. I don't know where I was going with that. It was not good. Anyway, nomina to phenomena, perception being an important key here. And Foucault says the beginning of the history of the contemporary notion of man, mankind, humankind is around the start of the 19th century. So this comes in with this sort of natural science growth of thinking as there's this medicalization and this scientization, if you will, of everything, right? He particularly has issues with areas that it intersects with power. So that would be places where prisons, medicine, things like that. Psychiatry, I think his childhood experience with that was part of the reason that bore such interest to him. And I don't know, my dad was a psychiatrist, so I'm certainly not anti-psychiatry, and I studied psychology and neuroscience. I'm certainly not anti-psychology, not anti-science, but I think this is an interesting way to look at things, right? The mad as different rather than needing to be fixed, right? The medical gaze being perhaps not the greatest thing for society, not better because it's more recent or more modernized or contemporary or whatnot, but different. And Foucault might say perhaps bad in that it's dehumanizing, right? It's reductive. So let's see what, if we step back, what can we ask from this? What have we learned, right? So let's ask, when we talk about this idea of humankind and how these definitions differ across time and across cultures, how does our conception... Hey, what's up, Lupe? We're talking about Foucault, Michel Foucault, famous French philosopher, 20th century French philosopher. I just read from this philosophy book, a chapter on him. I was playing Fortnite a moment ago. I'll get back into some Fortnite once we kind of finish talking about this chapter here. But yeah, so how does our conception, and in fact, let me switch scenes here so we can have at least Fortnite in the background here. So how does our conception of the idea of man and humankind change how we see the world, right? He has issue with us going back too far into the past and assuming that there is even anything sensible about the question of mankind or humankind before a certain time period, before that term is ever defined, before it ever comes into existence, right? So how does how we think about terms like that change how we see the world? I think that's an interesting and open-ended question. And if anyone wants to throw any ideas out there, throw some ideas out there. And the next question I wanted to ask is what changes? So, at the end there, it kind of talked about it's the cyborgs, right? There was that Dennett consciousness explained work that was mentioned, and something cyborg. I forgot. I haven't read that work. But what changes do we foresee that might significantly disrupt our current societal self-perceptions? What's going to change about the major ideas and institutions of today? The things behind the power dynamics of today. What's going to change significantly about how we view those things? And I think the most obvious answers relate back to that stream the other day, singularitarianism, when we were playing Splitgate and talking about that. I just want to say I was dead tired, sleep deprived during that stream, so I'm kind of just zoned out for half of it. So forgive me, that wasn't the highest quality stream. But hey, we're pushing on. This is I'm learning how to do this, and kind of sitting here with the schedule and making it work has been kind of tough. But I mean, I've got COVID right now and I'm doing it, so let's go. But yeah, anyway, I think that's the most obvious answer to the question, right? Like it's AI, it's machines, it's robots, it's, I think that's going to change how we see any of the main ideas and institutions of today, but especially the one that he's talking about. Foucault talks a lot about this idea of man and mankind, right? Obviously this old idea of the gendered man referring to humankind, but human, the essence of being human is something that I think is necessarily going to change once the robots take over, right? Like, I mean, once we hit technological singularity, the meaning, and the meaningfulness of being man of being flesh is going to change, I think. I don't know that it will bear the relevance and importance of today. Maybe we'll be one of many archetypes, right? There will be kinds of robots, and we'll just be another type of, but that's all speculation. Feel free to throw more speculation in the comments. I don't know. So let's play another game of Fortnite, and then I think I'll wrap things up because that's the end of the outline here. So let me go back to this screen, and we can go over and kind of, So again, this is on the Patreon. The version that's on the Patreon is here. This is the exact same thing. I posted 2 preview outlines on the Patreon. So my first 2 streams on Fallibilism and Foundationalism for Fortnite Philosophy Friday, and then for Splitgate Solipsism Sunday, we talked about singularitarianism, and so both of those are on my Patreon for free, so you can go check those out and see kind of what the gist of it is. But in my streams, I'm going to be showing these, so it's not like, I'm really, truly paywalling these, but if you do subscribe to the $5 a month tier, I mean, that's not even that much. Help me buy a coffee. You get these detailed outlines, and these have these sources, and I don't know, so they're detailed. All the formatting is correct, and you can even download them as a docx or a PDF. Everything is tagged pretty well. So PDF or docx if you want to edit it yourself and add notes. So if you've got an exam on this, hey, could be useful, could be good, could be great, could be awesome, But yeah, we got to the end here. So let's, look at that. We've got sources. It's MLA 9, y'all. It's MLA 9. Look at that. That is italicized. Check that out. That is a beautiful, it's just beautiful, All right. Enough of that. Enough of that. Enough of that. Let's win a game here. Ha! Yeah. YouTube, please don't take down my video because of the Ars Erotica earlier. Or Twitch, or Facebook, or where else am I streaming this? I'm currently streaming this to Twitch, YouTube, my personal Facebook page, my School Bus Soy Facebook page, Discord, Trovo, and Steam. Alrighty. Alright, so let's see here. Let's see where we're gonna land. Where have we not been? I don't like the Joneses and Sanctuary. I like the Bugle, but we've been there. We have not been to Logjam. That's kind of a late drop. Greasy. Was it Greasy last stream? Camp Cuddle's far. I think Logjam it is. I think Logjam it is. I'm not the biggest fan of Shifty Shafts. I feel like I'm just going to die there. Alright. So what would Foucault think of video games? Just kidding. There's nothing in it. Y'all are dumb. It's just got my logo on it. I'm just proud of myself. Check it out. Pride. Woo! Alright. I do love this auto-running thing. That you can, that's cool. That's neat. We have got the chest. At least one. Not too bad. Not too bad of a start. You know what? Let's move, and then perhaps we will find... God, jeez. Why? What is this, 2 big pots? I feel compelled to take them, because you never know. Not bad. I think the other chest is up here. I'm gonna feel like such a fool if I get jumped right now. Because I'm waiting for minis. Is that at me? Dude! Come on! Oh, no! Oh, God. He's letting me get off the big pots, which is aight with me. Oh, God, I don't know. Oh, God. This is, frightening. Oh, it looks like he's gone. Maybe. Oh, God. Ah, you're dead. You're dead. You're toast. Alright, there we go. That's nice. That is nice. Do I want the stinger? Yeah, I'll take it over that. I'm liking the ranger. I am pretty sure they buffed it, because I did not like the ranger before, and I do now, so... Maybe it's just placebo? But no, there's... What? Placebo? Doesn't make sense. Alright, do I swap this out? Yes, I do. Do I swap this out? Yes, I do. Alright, wow, that is kind of far. Let's go to this island. Let's take the boat. It'll be great. Oh, gosh. Some stuff here. So someone already stole the dang boat? Oh, no, my truck. All right, there we go. On a mission to victory. Let me know what y'all think of the volume going down in Fortnite when I start talking. If that's a good feature, or if I should just have it be quiet and not reduce just when I'm talking. I think it sounds good, but I'm also not watching this live, so I don't know. No, that was just foolish, all in all. I think he's just gone. Like, there's not going to be any... That was dumb. I feel dumb. Alright. I like this length. An hour and a half is where we're at right now at the stream. I'm probably going to try to keep things around there. I'm not sure exactly how long, but that sounds good to me. You know? I don't know. I don't think I'm going to try to, you know, enforce anything on myself, but that's probably going to be my rough goal for things. Nothing too crazy there, except this looks like it's been hit already. From whence come the damage? I don't know if that's even a correct construction. I kind of doubt it. Doesn't sound right. I don't see it. We'll try that. Whoa! This is what I get for trying to switch scenes mid-game. Oh, Ranger almost saved the day. 32 health. That's not too bad. Yeah, whatever. Oh, man. Well, let's see here. We'll go back to the lobby. We're all done. Was I wearing my skin even? Like my streaming skin? I think so. Yes. Yes. We're good. Alrighty. Well, thank you all for watching. I think this has been one of my better streams so far. I prepared more today than I have my past few, so that's good. I'm learning as we're going along. Go buy some mugs. They're great. You can put liquids in them. Hot liquids. Peace.